Fairy tales inadvertently teach children that entering a stranger's home can lead to amazing discoveries. Belle trespassed into the beast's bachelor pad, then found herself a hairy new boyfriend. And Hansel and Gretel learned that houses can be made of magical diabetes. Given the popularity of such stories, you might expect most kids to become thrill-seeking cat burglars in adulthood. Thankfully, the majority of grown-ups find less questionable ways to explore unfamiliar abodes. One of those ways is Airbnb. But unlike children's stories, Airbnb stays don't include golden eggs or edible rooftops. Nevertheless, the surprises people find, both renters and hosts, can seem just as grim and ridiculous as anything you've read in fairy tales. Invitation of the Body Snatcher. In 2017, French tourist Carole Escalier learned firsthand how sketchy Airbnb users can be. While searching for work in Silicon Valley, she rented a house in nearby Daly City, California. Her host, Zamir Azam, assured her she'd share the space with one other woman. Obviously, Azam needed math and biology tutors because that second female was actually several dudes.
Carol called the police after some male guests made advances to her in her bedroom and walked in on her in the shower.
After doing some digging, reporters for KPIX-CBS in the Bay Area uncovered the sketchy truth about the host,
who lives in the basement, served 10 years in state prison for kidnapping and beating the mother of his child.
Worse yet, despite Airbnb's claims to the contrary, the most basic background check would have exposed this dark past. The story has an incredibly happy ending, though.
Airbnb refunded Carol right away.
See that? If you're almost assaulted by a bunch of strangers, you'll definitely get your money back. Err-bnb. According to Colorado Fox affiliate KDVR, in 2017, Marissa Fox and some friends arranged to spend a week at a house in Broomfield, Colorado. Not long into their stay, however, it dawned on them that something was amiss. Specifically, their personal belongings had gone missing and unfamiliar items had appeared.
It's like a bunch of needles, and then they had this little tray thing, and I don't know if they were like snorting stuff too.
Turns out, there was a pretty good reason why the rental turned into a house-sized lost and found for illicit substances. When police arrived, they delivered the news.
They were surprised that Airbnb let them let us rent from them because it was a known crack house in town.
Sadly for the corporation that rented a woman and her friends a literal crack house, Airbnb seems to have lost a customer as a result of the incident.
Will you be using Airbnb ever again?
No, absolutely not.
A blown-up opportunity. In 2017, various Windy City news outlets reported that Airbnb host Mike Duckworth rented out a single room in a Chicago home. When the renter, Michael DeBrown, asked about where to buy drugs, why his door didn't have a lock, then left the house, Duckworth got suspicious. That's when he looked inside the room and discovered his guest had installed some security cameras. And that's not all.
On the bed was like a huge brown tube with like a huge green wick sticking out of it. Then there was a bunch of like soldering tools, like a heat gun.
Duckworth evacuated his home and called the cops. Police initially identified DeBrown's device as a box of old wires, per the Chicago Tribune. They later realized those old wires were part of a new 10-inch pipe bomb that contained nearly half a pound of explosive powder. Authorities subsequently detained DeBrown. Duckworth, meanwhile, couldn't help himself and declared his Airbnb was, quote, the bomb. The Trojan horde. According to reporting by Cleveland.com and NBC affiliate WKYC, Isaiah Shahid rented a room in the Ohio home of Airbnb host Sang Myung Lee over New Year's Eve weekend in 2017. The terms of the rental were crystal clear.
$40 per room, 5 people maximum.
At some point, Lee gave his renter permission to throw a small party. Big mistake. Turns out that Shahid had advertised a New Year's Eve party on Twitter and charged each attendee $5. The resulting crowd was purportedly, quote, packed so tightly in each of the rooms and up in the stairwell, it did not appear there was space for anyone to extend their arms. Cops were called to disperse the partygoers, many of whom drunkenly jumped through and broke windows while fleeing. Trashed revelers completely trashed Lee's house, a truly garbage way to start the year.
Oh my God, this.
And of course, this story has another trademark happy ending that you've come to expect by now.
Now, Lee was charged with a noise complaint and he will have to appear in court later this month.